Hello, I'm State Representative Rich Irvin of the 81st District in Huntington, Center, and Mifflin counties. Many residents of our district have approached me about the state budget, asking where the process stands and where do we go from here. On today's program, I'll pose those same questions to my guest, Majority Appropriations Chairman, Representative Bill Adolph. Welcome, Representative Adolph. I think this will be probably this next budget process will be your last budget process, as you're looking to retire at the end of the upcoming term, and it'll be passing on to someone else to take over as chairman of the Appropriations Committee. So first of all, I want to thank you as a freshman legislator for coming in here. You've made me feel very welcome. You explained the process. You've taken me through the budget process, and I have a very good understanding. But probably the biggest questions that I get in the district is, why can't we compromise? Why can't we just come together and work? And in fact, I was just answering an email before I came to this meeting today. They were asking me, they were blaming the legislature for the budget impasse, and you know, that isn't so. And how has it been working with the governor throughout this whole budget process?
Well, thanks for your comments, number one, and I'm being asked the same question. So it's been different, quite honestly. The governor has made some decisions that have been different than other governors, and despite party differences or caucus differences, the governor's decisions have been different. And I say that in all due respect. I think our caucus has always felt that we had a constitutional responsibility to pass a budget on time, and we were able to do that over the last 4 years. And no different this year. We put together a budget, a $30.2 billion budget, roughly about a 3.5% increase over last year.
No tax increase.
No tax increase.
One time,
substantial increases to education, and unfortunately, the governor did something that no other governor has done since the mid-1950s, and that was veto an entire budget. So that was a little different.
And that has affected the residents of our district, or my district, your district, and the whole state, because it held up not only the state funding, but the federal funding going out to each one of those nonprofit agencies, county government, school government, you name it.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, Representative. And then, we heard from these rape crisis centers. We heard from these other county agencies, all these nonprofits. We heard from hospitals. So, in September, we tried to do an emergency, a 90-day emergency budget, just to get the funds out there, so there would not be layoffs being done in our home counties and so forth and so on. So emergency rooms would not be closed. We passed it. The Senate passed it. The governor vetoed it. Okay? So you talk about compromise. We tried to compromise with the governor.
There's been about, what, 4 budgets, 6 6 opportunities for the governor to get this funding out?
Yes, no, there's no question about it. And we put together another budget. In the month of December, we increased spending by another $100 million. Okay, tried to get closer to the governor's figure. Would have needed some revenue. We were going to count on the Philly casino license, $50 million. Probably some online betting through the gaming industry would have brought in another $150 million. Okay, and we passed it. Okay, House passed it, Senate passed it, put it on the governor's desk, and he then, out of a $30.3 billion, he blue lined $6 billion in unexplainable, really, line items. I mean, here's a governor who built his campaign and his reputation about investing in education, and he blue-lined about $3 billion worth of education funding.
Chairman, one of the other myths I think that is within the district that is being put out there, whether it be by your PSEA, teachers unions, or anything of that nature, is that we have cut funding to education. But in fact, we are funding education at its highest level in Pennsylvania's history right now.
That's correct, Representative. And this last budget that we put together, we actually added another $50 million to basic education funding. And I think what's important to know is that our budgets, we use the Basic Education Commission's funding formula, which really was a bipartisan agreement, which helps majority of our school districts, whereas the governor has picked and chose what school districts would receive the bulk of this money. And really, when you get into the weeds of it, you don't hear anybody talking about that, but that's really an issue that's important, and that's why I really believe if the people knew the type of money that we were investing in education, they would be proud of it.
And we start out probably the budget in June. It was at a $100 million increase to basic education, and we went to 150. Now we're at $200 million to increases in basic education, which we have been compromising. We have been working with the governor trying to reach that point. And I don't think the media has really given us that fair shake in letting us know, or letting the public know, the general population know, that we are trying to work towards an agreement with this governor. But a lot of times you have one step forward, and sometimes you end up taking 2 steps backwards with it.
No question about it. And I think a misconception out there is that you just don't invest in education. Somehow or another, you have to pay for it. And we've been trying to invest in education. Why not? And keeping the people that work for a living, keep their taxes down. The governor's plan was to increase the personal income tax and also increase and expand the sales tax. Mm-hmm. So this is all during the negotiations, and I think we're at a good spot. I just have my fingers crossed, Representative, that the governor will finally sign this budget, and we can move on to next year. And so
really,
forth.
we need to finalize the 15-16 budget in order to even start truly on the 16-17 budget. If not, we're just going to be going in circles, because you don't have that hard, fast start point that we need to have, or a bottom line, what to build off of, instead of just arguing back and forth between the leadership and the governor on where we need to even begin.
No question. And our hospitals need the money, our schools need the money, our 4 state-related universities need the money. The University of Pennsylvania's vet school, our only vet school in Pennsylvania, needs the money. They haven't received a single dime, those state-related universities.
A bill that I sponsored was to restore the funding to the state correctional facilities, which was blue-lined by the governor half. It was $950 or $980 million, right around there. The bill that I was sponsored would have restored that. Well, we passed that in the House, and we sent it to the Senate, and what happened was the Senate amended that bill to be the vehicle for this last budget that we put on the governor's desk. So I'm very proud of the fact that we're using my bill as a budget vehicle. But funny thing that I do want to tell my district residents is I got a call from your office the day that it was going to run on the House floor. And they said that you were going to take the lead on this bill. And I sort of answered the phone back, and I said, well, I sure hope so, because I'm going to let the chairman take the lead on the budget rather than myself.
Right. Well, Representative, first of all, I want to applaud you for the bill that you introduced. I mean, during our budget hearings, it was obvious that the Department of Corrections needed that money. We weren't about to open up the doors of our prisons and let the prisoners out. And I also applaud the treasurer for taking it upon himself to continue to spend those dollars and appropriate those dollars to to the Department of Corrections during this period of time because of public safety.
Well, there is a question on whether the legality of that, whether it can be legally done that way, but we do need to.
He put himself in a real position. Okay, the governor put the treasurer in that position. Your bill would have been the way to go, but we used your bill as a vehicle in order to solve this whole problem.
Another big issue right now in my district, being a rural district, is your 4-H, your extension funds. I mean, to get those funds pushed out to the kids that are really going to be utilizing those programs is something that's very important right now. And we're looking at friends and neighbors of mine who are looking to lose their jobs because they work for Penn State University.
No question about it, Representative. We had a full house. We had a full house when the Secretary of Agriculture came before the Appropriations Committee for the budget hearings. And the 4-H clubs, the Penn State folks, they were all there. They know what's going on. This budget that the governor has in front of him right now has all the necessary funding that they need.
I really think a lot of the line item vetoes were geared towards your rural districts because of the fact that we are generally in the majority right now, and we're probably I wouldn't say obstructionist, but we're the voice that's keeping the taxpayers of Pennsylvania protected so that they're not going to be paying an additional $850 annually, which amounts to a car payment, a mortgage payment, something of that nature.
No question about it. Yeah. The governor campaigned on increasing the severance tax. Okay, severance tax, and with the gas industry being in the position that it is, and the gas prices going down, there was no money there. Okay, so he shifted from a severance tax, the $1 billion severance tax, to about a $200 million severance tax. And the balance of that money was going to be made up by personal income taxes paid by the working people and the sales tax being paid by everyone in Pennsylvania. So that was the tax shift.
I think responsible leadership, we need to hold the line on taxes so that we can let our economy grow. And by the economy growing, then we will build a bigger tax base to help fund education, to help fund the pension deficit, to help fund our human service agencies. And as we attract those jobs back into Pennsylvania and we create a healthy environment to match our job creators and our educators together, we will make a difference in Pennsylvania. And it's not just tax the hardworking middle class so that we can arbitrarily put more money into education without any kind of transparency that goes along with it.
No question. I think government has to do what small business folks do, what families do. You just have to live within your means.
Exactly. And you and I have to do that just like I think the government needs to.
That's correct. Yes.
So I appreciate you being here with us at this stage in the budget process, and that's about all the time we're going to have for today's program. So I'm Representative Rich Irvin, and if you have any questions about what we've discussed or need any assistance with any state matter, feel free to contact my local office through my website. That information will be shown in a moment, and thanks for watching.